Nope.
Grandma won't be visiting this Thanksgiving. Last year, we gathered at her house, and Daddy said it was finally time for me to sleep in my own room. I usually had to sleep in the living room with my cousins, but they weren't spending the night that year, so as soon as we got there, I ran to the extra guest bedroom that had the huge TV, all to myself. I spent nearly all day in that room, and we still had 2 more days until Thanksgiving. The next day I went shopping with Grandma to get groceries. We got everything at the store, from potatoes to flour, and at last we made our way to the turkeys. My favorite part of Thanksgiving is the turkey. Daddy always said I was a turkey maniac, and I could eat the whole thing if they let me. You most definitely can't have Thanksgiving without a turkey anyway. The bin was enormous and cold for all the turkeys to be stuffed inside of. I wrapped my fingers around the side and looked in, and to my horror, it was empty. Grandma muttered about something, but the only thing that ran through my head was no turkey. Tears welled up in my eyes, my cheeks got hot, and my heart felt like it was going to burst in my chest, until Grandma turned to me and said, "How about beef?" Beef? For Thanksgiving? I sucked up my tears and followed Grandma to the beef section. There were sausages, steaks, and hamburgers, but no roast. Sweating, I followed Grandma to the pork section. I scanned the entire area, searching for the ham, bone in, of course. And there, at the end, the ham. But it was empty as well. My hand balled into a fist as an uncontrollable heat lifted through my chest. Tears spilled down my cheek as I saw that every bin of whole chickens, duck, lamb, and other delicious animal were all empty. But Grandma must have not seen me, because she turned around with a hearty laugh and said, "I guess we'll go vegan." Her smile repulsed me. Thanksgiving without turkey was bad enough, but no meat? No meat at all? There weren't even enough sausages to go around the whole family. I scrambled after her, and we headed home. I remember Daddy asking me what was wrong, but I was so emotional that the words wouldn't come out. I was glad that none of my cousins were there to see me, and I ran to my room without eating lunch. I couldn't stomach the thought of half Thanksgiving. Daddy came to me after lunch with a plate of veggies and spaghetti, but the sight of no meatballs made me want to vomit. What kind of person would make spaghetti without meatballs? When I turned away, I knew my dad couldn't stand to see me that way. I was his little buddy after all, his growing boy, and growing boys need meat. I moped around my room for a little while, and then turned on the TV to drown out some shouting. I think Dad was upset about the situation as well, because he loved meat as much as I did, and Thanksgiving without meat just wasn't Thanksgiving at all. I don't know what time it was, the Wednesday before Thanksgiving, but I woke up to my TV still on. I shut it off and snuggled under the blankets, the disappointment that had plagued me still fresh in my mind, when I suddenly saw the light in the shed through the window. I watched in the darkness of the room as my dad began cutting something up. Something big. I could see his shadow swinging an axe, and the dull thud echoed through the still night. This overwhelmed me with joy, because I knew Dad must have caught a deer in the woods. He was great at hunting, and even better at skinning. He even promised to take me into the woods one day with him. I woke up the next morning to the doorbell ringing, and the sweet smell of meat cooking in the oven. I was right. I ran through the kitchen to the front door, where family and friends entered at once, and soon the house was filled with people. I played with my cousins as the tables were set up with colors of gold and orange. Plates were set, and juice was poured into glasses. We passed the potatoes around, and the salads, but I kept extra room on my plate for something special. My dad came to the table, at last, with a giant pan that was steaming from all sides. As the lid was pulled back, my heart leapt with joy. Inside the pan was a well-seasoned roast. It smelled like rosemary and beef and ham and turkey, all mixed together. The flavors burst in my mouth with the joys of Thanksgiving, and everyone around the table had second helpings while I helped myself to thirds, and there was still a lot to go around. Each bite was something different, and you can just sense the happiness gathering around the table through smiles and extra helpings. I looked across the table to my dad, who sat at the head. He was smiling back at me. I could see the love in his eyes. He knew, too, that Thanksgiving just wouldn't be the same if it were vegan. I then looked around the table, searching for Grandma, but she wasn't at the table. Dad told me that she had slept through everything. Oh well. All that meant was more delicious meat for the rest of us. Hello, dear listener, and thank you for joining me in this special bonus Thanksgiving video. If you enjoyed it, be sure to smack that like button down below, subscribe for future videos, and turn on that notification bell. To everyone who supports this channel, whether you've been with me for years or you just joined this week, it doesn't matter. I'm thankful for each and every single one of you. If you do live in the States and you're celebrating Thanksgiving, I hope you have a great holiday yourself. And if you want more creepy Thanksgiving action, you can check out the podcast. I just uploaded episode 5, Thanksgiving Thrills. I'll leave a link down below so you can check that out. But with that said, everyone, remember to stay safe out there. I'll be seeing you in the next video.